Let us reason together. If somebody said to you, or implied, love me or die, how would you achieve that? How could you love somebody that threatens you with death? That's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Well, that's what the religious lord does. That's what religion does. Get on your knees. Love me and die. But oddly, the Bible describes the Jews, Yahuda, related to Yah, as upright people with a stiff neck, which is the exact opposite of being on your knees and bowed down, is it not? This is simple reasoning, people. If you can't get this, okay, then I can't help you. In fact, you can't even help yourself, because this is simple. Now, the act of meditation is surrender. Some would say submission. I don't like words like that. It took me a long time to get used to the word surrender. But it is, because you're putting your ego intellect to the side or behind you to allow yourself to be truly open-minded. That's what meditation does. It makes you open-minded. If there's no mind there, then you're completely open. Your cup is completely empty. And when the cup's empty, it can be refilled. And then after meditation, you get your mind back. And it's smarter, wiser. But it's a bit of a double-edged sword, you see. The Enlightenment is a physical and psychological event. And then you have knowledge of good and evil. Now this doesn't pertain to mankind's understanding of good and evil, like murderers and rapists and things like that. We all understand, good and evil in society. We all get it. But this is an internal understanding of yourself. This is to know yourself, to know what's good and to know what's evil. And then you can choose. Now the people that run this world have chosen evil. They've chosen the enlightened mind, the false Christ. Promises lots, delivers nothing. But there are those that don't use their enlightened mind for personal gain. And they take a narrow path. This video is about the so-called 10 Commandments from the God that loves you. But only if you get on your knees. Now, the religious God, religion is Satan's masterpiece. The religious God is a narcissist. The religious God has self-esteem issues. He needs to be validated and worshipped. And it's a nonsense. It doesn't exist. It's an absolute fucking farce. Because the 10 Commandments comes from the first 5 books of the Bible, also known as the Septuagint, more commonly known as the Torah. The Jews in that shitty dusty shithole in Israel, they don't follow the Torah. They follow the rabbis. And Rab in Hebrew means self-aggrandizing. These are people that puff themselves up. and they have followings. I don't want followers. You don't follow me. You just listen and you reason with yourself. Am I telling the truth or not? You reason it out. I've got no skin in that game. Now, Rab means self-aggrandizing. Go on YouTube. Look at them. You know. Or listen to what they say. Externalizing God. When that character, Jesus, known as Yahusha, which means the implement of Yah, he told you directly that you are gods. Just very forgetful. It's funny that in the book it says, I will wipe away your tears. Now this can be understood in two ways. It can be understood that you have chosen the narrow path and you're pursuing that, and all the difficulties that come with it. Or you've had your mind wiped clean by the EMPCOE, EMCO. You don't want to go through that. You don't. Right. Somebody that's on the narrow path wants that to happen internally. They literally offer their story, their ego, as the sacrificial heifer, the perfect heifer, because they've made themselves clean, and they offer it in meditation. Okay, and it is accepted. Now, but you still keep your story because it's just a story. In the Torah, Torah means instructions for life. And that's not the life you're living now. It's all-encompassing. So it's an instruction for life in its absolute entirety. And when you pare everything down, when you get rid of all the labels and the mental illusions, the Maya, you recognize that life is, in its absolute essence, is nothing more than pure consciousness. So the instructions for life, the Torah, is about consciousness and how to attain that state of higher consciousness. Now, the rabbis, they follow the oral traditions of the rabbis, which is the 38 books of the Talmud, and it's a disgusting read. And I haven't read all of it because it's just fucking dog shit. And that's why Jesus called them out. He called them fake Jews. A Jew is somebody that walks with God, struggles with their own brain. God is your brain, and the Father is higher consciousness. There's two fathers in the Bible. Remember, Jesus called the Pharisees and the scribes, you are of your father, the devil. So you have a separation. You have a duality. You have low consciousness, ego. And then you have, the ego takes, it wants to possess. And then you have higher consciousness, which freely gives. Of course it does. You're conscious. You're receiving it right now, perhaps unknowingly. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, if you tune into it. Life. Consciousness is eternal. It has no beginning. It has no end. It simply is. So, the so-called 10 Commandments, okay, actually the 10 instructions. In total, in the Torah, there are the 10 Commandments, and there are also the 603 Mosaic laws, and they're all quite mad. I'm not going to go through them, probably later, but the 10 Commandments are the basis for all modern societies, and Western thinking has spread across the world, okay, with their ridiculous concepts of maritime law and legal name fraud. You can look these things up for yourself. So I'm going to read it through, and I'll go through it as the ego, and then I'll go through it with the higher understanding, so you can reason it with yourself. Okay? The 10 Commandments, and this is the Exodus 20 verses 2 to 17. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Oh my God, it's a Lord. Oh, I know these lords, you've got to bow down to them, because they're really powerful. These lords. In Hebrew, Lord is Baal, or Baal, or Baal. Baal-zebub. The Lord of the Flies. You normally find flies around shit. Second commandment, you shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. 3. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. 5. Honour your mother and father, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. 6. You shall not murder. Or you shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. You shall not covet your neighbour's house. You shall not covet your neighbour's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbour's. Okay. Right. You shall not covet your neighbour's house. Oh, shit, I've done that. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. Yeah, I think I've done that as well. You shall not steal. Guilty. You shall not commit adultery. Fucking hell. You shall not kill. Honour your mother and your father, that your days may be long upon the land. No. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. What, Saturday? I don't get it. Okay. You shall take the name of the Lord your God in vain. What's his fucking name then? You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness. Picture of me as a young man at the Munich Beer Festival. Me in a silly military costume, that's me in the middle. And that's Jimmy, and that's Rob. Tanks. Thou shalt not kill. Missile systems. Somewhere in Iraq. Oh dear. We've got any more? So I haven't got many pictures left of the wars. Got rid of most of them. So, I'll tell you now, I have broken every single one of those commandments repeatedly. And I'll tell you this now, you cannot live by them. You can't. It's impossible. Go out tomorrow and have the 10 commandments on your lips and try and fulfill them. No. That's me in Belfast in 1989. I was 17 and a half. Anyway, go on. Somebody will say, you might be feeling particularly under the weather, and someone will say, hey, how you doing? You say, yeah, I'm good. You've lied. You're drinking alcohol and you're getting drunk. You're killing your spirit. All those Christians sitting down at the Thanksgiving table with their turkey, or whatever countries celebrate, eating the dead flesh of an animal that's been killed for your taste buds. Simple truths that people simply cannot take. Makes the body acidic, which kills the spirit. So, if you, this is simple reasoning. I can't stress this enough. If you have a Lord, are you free? No, you're not. Somebody's lording it over you, so you're not free, are you? Look at the governments of the world. Look at the way they're banding together, trying to shape this ridiculous new world order. It's not new, and there's no fucking order. They are pretending to be the new gods, your lords. Bow to me. Do as I tell you. Don't think. Keep your fucking mask on. The mask is the ego. It's time to remove that shite. You're the story that you tell yourself. It's time to find out who you really are. So, really, okay, it's the 10 instructions. So I am Yahweh, which is based on the word Ahaya, which means I am. He introduced himself to Moses as the burning bush that was not consumed, which is the brain, and the bush was burning with plasma. Moses was a shepherd. He drew the people out. It's the limbic system. Also the story of Moses put in the basket and floated down the river Nile. Okay? It's the same story of the sacred secretion. And it goes back up again. It draws it back up. The limbic system. The sphenoid bone in the face. When you clench your arse muscles, you're pumping the cerebrospinal fluid. And if your house is clean, it will be alkaline, and you will raise the sacred secretion. Okay? Consciousness. Ahaya. Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya. I am what I am, or I am that I am. I, individual, am a state of existence, being, which is meditation. So, I am Yahweh, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Now, Egypt is described in the Bible as a place of division. That's what Giza means. The Pyramid of Giza, it means division, it means border. So this consciousness has brought you out of the land of Egypt, which has been turned into a desert. It's a ruinous place, desolate. Out of the house of bondage, being released from the bondage of the Pharaoh, who lords it over you. So who's the Pharaoh? It's the ego that thinks it's the king. King fucking nothing. Great song by Metallica. And you shall have no other gods before me. God is your brain. So if you're worshipping something outside of you, like all those morons that are religious, they've got another god before them, but it's in here. It's been in between these two temples. in the church that was built in silence. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above. Go into the churches or these Masonic temples. It's all symbolizing what's within. And despite being instructed not to do that, that's what they do. People walking around with crucifixes on, or the Star of David, or the Eye of Providence, or any other religious shite. It's just there to say, oh, look at me, you know, hey, I believe in God. I'm a good person, me. It's amateur virtue signaling. It's externalizing a truth that is inside you. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. Look at all the religious people bowing down. And religion also encompasses things like New Age, or any belief system, believing in government, bowing down to them. Fuck them. For I, Yahweh, am a jealous God. The word was, I can't remember what it was, but it was zealous. You know, so your brain is, you know, consciousness goes through it and allows you to operate in this reality and to express yourself as an individual, hopefully, separate from the herd. But if you don't know this, then it's just going to ignore you. All these people that are praying, most of them do it to be seen. Go on YouTube and watch them, and they are all telling God what to do. It's hilarious. And it's written in the scriptures as well. You know, your vain mutterings. He doesn't listen. But showing mercy to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Instructions. Now these instructions are, you learn them and then you start to respond to them, and it's difficult. I have my difficulties. Fuck yeah. You shall not this is 3. You shall not take the name of Yahweh, your God, in vain. In other words, don't take the use or the gift of consciousness, life. Don't take it in vain. Use it to explore yourself, know yourself. For Yahweh will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. In other words, if you've gone through your life and you haven't investigated your own consciousness, and you haven't responded to the simple instructions, and you haven't raised your energy, then you have used the name in vain. Also consider this. What separates you from every other living being or a human being? What is your specific signature? What is your name? What is your DNA? Deoxyribose nucleic acid. 4 letters, GTAC, and they join in pairs. There's writing on the left and there's writing on the right sides. It sounds like the tablets of Moses, doesn't it? Where the instructions for life were written. Are you joining the dots yet? And when you raise that energy up, your DNA gets fired up, gets activated. So does your mental acuity. And if you haven't done that, then you are living in vain. And it says there, will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Now this isn't about saying, oh fuck God or anything silly like that. It's just, it's symbolic speech. If you clean your house and meditate, that energy will rise up. It's the age of Aquarius. That was the promise. When you see the man with the water pitcher, that's Aquarius. Number 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labour. Now people look at the days of the week. Moon day, Tuesday, Woden's Day, Thor's Day, Frida's Day, Saturn Day, and Sunday. Those are just fucking hell. That's just man-made constructs, part of the fucking mental illusion. You know, those things, those labels mean the grand scheme of fuck all to the universe. It means nothing. Oh, the Sabbath is Saturday, but the Christians go to church on Sunday, and Islam's got it wrong because they go on Friday. It's horseshit. 6 days you shall labour. The 6 chakras, the number of man is 6. And you're cleaning your house, working through each day, raising that energy. And on the 7th day, when you open the door, you knock on it. The pineal gland, number of 7, it means perfection. On that day, you shall rest. It's got nothing to do with fucking days. That's just insane. Do you see how this Babylonian speech, this confusion has blanketed everything? And when you reach that place, the place of rest, Sabbath, you'll keep it. That's the journey. That's where you're headed. That's what we're all trying to achieve. That's what you should be understanding. I can't stress this enough. This is simple reasoning. You've got to get beyond man-made illusions. Monday, Tuesday went, fuck off, it's horseshit. So the 6 days is your labour, raising that energy. Remember, we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And you shall work the land and till the soil, and there'll be sweat on your brow. Because it's difficult, raising that energy. It's difficult, you'll be challenged. Oh, I want a steak. Oh, I do like bacon. But you can't partake of that. It's all these challenges, and you're meditating, and it takes the anxiety and stress off you, and that energy can rise. And the woman, she will be in pain during childbirth. The woman is the subconscious mind, and the child is the sacred secretion. It's allegory, it's metaphor. Yeah, now do you see the separation? Do you see like the lowly and little consciousness of people that are bowing down to fucking dung? And with a higher understanding, you're like, shit, I get it. And now you're starting to respond because you recognize what evil is inside you. And you want good. And it's a struggle, and you can't do it on your own because the ego's a fuckwit. And the ego just gets in the way, and it causes all sorts of fucking dramas. So what do? Turn it off. Put it behind you. So the spirit can come in. The spirit of Yah, I am. And it can come in and it can do all the work for you. It serves you. When you're meditating, you're reaching up. And it reaches down. It does it for you. The ego can't do a fucking thing other than whine. Look. Can your ego determine the speed at which your fingernails grow? Or your beard? No. Not in a low state it can't. I stabbed my hand the other week. A piece of glass went in there and it stuck in the muscle and the flesh and it caught the tendon. That hand was really sore. When I was meditating, I could feel the energy in my thymus region, my heart, and I directed it to my hand and the hole was healed up and all pain. In fact, I'd forgotten about it. And it was the next day I looked at it, there was no hole and there was no pain. It had healed itself. Where attention goes, energy flows. That's the power of the mind that's tapping into something much higher than itself. But it does that when it's out the way. These are the gifts. And listen, they are freely given. Honour your father and your mother. What happens if your mum and dad were drug addicts? And they were also inbred. So their genetic language, the word of God, their DNA, was just a fucking jumbled mess. And through no fault of your own, you've been born into a body which is riddled with bad grammar. And not to mention all the filthiness that comes with drug addiction. And you've inherited these lands from these two creatures. How do you honour them? Because they were so addicted, they used to pawn you out, sell your body to get money. They used to prostitute you. Now go and honour them. Have fun with that. Now, of course, that's a really bad scenario I've just painted, but it's true for some people. And this is what religion tells people to do. Fucking, that's monstrous. That's evil. Your mother is your subconscious mind. And your father is outside of that. Call it the ether, the prana, the breath of life, 0 point energy, the singularity. And you find that within. And you have these experiences within. Trust me, you will. And they are indescribable. Words are just pointless. And to honour your mother and father is to follow the instructions. Clean your house, meditate, walk away from all that Babylonian shit. Stop watching things that poison you, like politics and religion. When I'm on YouTube, if somebody starts talking religious, I'm gone. Don't want to hear it. I am fucking gone. And the father and the mother are exactly the same. You shall not kill. This is killing the spirit. If you're drinking alcohol, you lower your consciousness. You turn yourself into a fucking moron. Really? You don't believe me? Get a bottle of whiskey and drink it all. And get people to film you. You're killing yourself. You're killing your spirit. Other things do it as well. I'm aware I still have filthy habits. I am still a work in progress. But this is not about my journey. This is about enabling your journey. Okay? Right. So don't kill your spirit. Be mindful of what you're doing, what you're eating. And eating is not just the physical eating, it's also what you're letting into your house. Be mindful of it. Guard your walls. You shall not commit adultery. When your subconscious mind leads you astray, oh, go on, have another steak. No one's watching. Nobody knows you here. Or, oh, I really fancy a couple of beers, but everyone knows I'm on this like path now because I've told everybody. Like, what I'll do is I'll go into another town and do it there. Now I speak of these things because I've done it at the start of my journey, and it's a struggle to overcome. You know, the suggestions that are fed to the egoic intellect via the subconscious mind that is still in a state of chaos. And going back into that is adultery. This is why it's written, it is better for you, if your right hand offends you, cut it off. In other words, not this hand, not your right hand, but it's the right hand side. If it offends you, if it's like influencing you to do something that you shouldn't be doing, cut it off, have nothing to do with it. These little suggestions, like, where do thoughts come from? They come from the subconscious. But if you're guarding your house, you see, you shall not steal. Right. When I talk about these things, these are my experiences. I'm sharing my journey with you, so you, the individual, can understand through simple reasoning and then start to respond, and then you'll have your own experience, and it takes time. Right? So that consciousness is working through me. Now, if I say it's me that's doing all this, my ego, that's wrong. That's taking credit for the spirit. That's stealing. People like Brian Austin Lambert, Mia and her second glasses, that's what they do. People that take money, you know, like I've seen on some people, they have a little thing at the bottom with their email or telephone number, and it will say $50 for a 1 hour consultation. That's stealing. That's rewarding yourself for a gift that was given to me for free because I responded to simple instructions. Thou shalt not steal. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Peter, that's Shimon Kephesh, or in the Bible, the modern translation, it's Simon Peter. Now Simon is Shimon, which means he who listens. And Kephesh means rock or stone, the pineal gland. And Paul robs from him. That's the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul said, I rob from the churches. In other words, he takes from you people. That's why I never ask for money. I don't ask for validation. I cringe when somebody says thank you. Thank yourself for having, for being open-minded enough to receive, to break your own bread, to reason. It's hard sometimes. You shall not bear false witness against... the Apostle Paul is the enlightened ego that thinks he's clever, because he always says, but I say. Jesus wrote 7 letters to the churches, which is the chakras, and the Apostle Paul wrote 7 letters. Jesus is the I am, higher consciousness, known as Ra. But the Apostle Paul, he's known as many things: Hermes Trismegistus, loads of different names, Krishna, Buddha, Mohammed. And the Apostle Paul is the enlightened ego that thinks, no, I don't like God's, I don't like natural law. I'm going to do it on my own. Be careful. That's knowledge of good and evil. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. My neighbour is my own higher consciousness. I'm not bearing false witness. 2 witnesses. That's my ego intellect and my older brother, the Alpha and the Omega. He was there at the beginning. He's here now. He's going to be here at the end. And 10, you shall not covet your neighbour's house. We look at people's houses. I'm sure Brad Pitt's got a lovely gaff. It's not about that. It's about looking at somebody else's body and thinking, oh, I'm in this fucking thing that I've inherited from my drug-addled parents. Don't think like that. That's bad. It's not good for you. Your body's a fucking masterpiece. Okay? And it's operated by an intelligence far greater than your mind. So be mindful of not letting your attention go onto somebody else's body. You love yourself. You shall not covet your neighbour's wife. In other words, somebody's wife is like somebody's emotional, expressive side, the way they express themselves. Don't. Okay, because you're externalizing what you have within you that you've yet to find. Nor his male servant, which is the ego. Nor his female servant, again the emotions. Nor his ox, that's his power, his authority. Nor his donkey, that's a donkey is symbolic of being a lowly, a beast of burden. So my ego is it's not burden, but it's my tool. Nor anything that is your neighbour's. So don't be looking at me or anyone else turn it inwards. Repent. Pent means 5. Repent. Take your 5 senses, turn them inwards, and discover who you truly are. The 10 instructions. Enjoy.